Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day.
The autumn breeze flutters the curtains as I take a sip of my lukewarm coffee, the quiet of the early evening settling around me. My neighbor, Frank, is trimming his roses again, his figure bent over the blooms in meticulous care. He waves over the fence, a gesture that's become a familiar prelude to small talk, or, as it often turns out with Frank, not so small talk. "Evening, John," he calls out, wiping sweat from his brow with a dirty glove. "Got a minute?" I nod, setting down my mug and walking over. There's always a hint of trepidation when Frank has something to say. Today, his face wears a peculiar mix of concern and uncomfortable excitement. "I didn't want to interfere," he starts, scratching his neck, "but I saw your wife with some man yesterday. They looked very close." He pauses, gauging my reaction. I feel a jolt, like a cold splash of water. "Close? How?" "They were at the park," he explains. "Laughing, touching." I didn't want to eavesdrop, but they were talking quite loudly about some high surf cafe and that they wanted to meet there tomorrow night. My heart pounds against my chest. Sarah, my wife of 5 years, with another man. It sounds ludicrous, yet Frank's detailed account stirs a storm inside me. "Thanks, Frank," I manage to say, though my voice feels hollow. "No worries, John. Just thought you should know." Back inside, the silence of my house now screams. Sarah's cheerful humming from the kitchen sounds different, suspicious. The normalcy of her demeanor, as she prepares dinner, suddenly seems like a well-rehearsed act. "Who were you with at the park yesterday?" I ask, trying to sound casual as I lean against the kitchen doorframe. Sarah glances over her shoulder, a flicker of surprise in her eyes. "Just met Linda for a quick chat." "Why?" "Just curious," I mutter, watching her closely. The seed of doubt, once planted, grows roots quickly. The next evening, under the guise of a sudden work obligation, I find myself outside the High Surf Cafe, a fancy seaside restaurant known for its exorbitant prices and exclusive clientele. Through the large glass windows, the warm glow of chandeliers bathes the diners in opulent light. My heart sinks as I spot her, Sarah, laughing just like Frank described, only she's not with Linda. I step inside, my pulse racing. The maitre d' gives me a nod, mistaking my grimace for a smile. I scan the room and there he is, a stranger sitting alone at a table set for two. His watch, a gleaming piece of luxury, catches the light as he checks the time impatiently. Ignoring the questioning look from the maitre d', I stride towards the table. As I approach, I see it, a pair of familiar high heels peeking out from under the tablecloth. Rage engulfs me as I realize the full extent of the betrayal. "Sarah." My voice is a growl. The heels twitch, and then Sarah emerges, her face flushed with shock and guilt. The man stands abruptly, confusion and annoyance etched across his face. I don't hear the words they stammer, the blood roars too loudly in my ears. The room spins, diners staring, a waiter dropping a tray in the commotion. But none of that matters. I'm furious, humiliated, but above all, I'm hurt. My mind races, thoughts of revenge seeping through the cracks of my broken heart. For starters, I whisper to myself, the plan beginning to form as I turn away from the wreckage of my trust, this is far from over. As I leave the High Surf Cafe, the night air doesn't cool my seething anger. It fuels it, promising dark possibilities. The night air crackles with my rage as I storm away from the High Surf Cafe. Each step hammers the pavement like a judge's gavel, condemning Sarah and her mysterious companion. Despite the turmoil swirling inside me, a plan begins to crystallize, sharp and dangerous. I don't go home. Instead, I find myself pulling into the dimly lit parking lot of Rick's Bar, a local dive known for its rough clientele and even rougher whiskey. Here, I can think, here, I can plot. Inside, The air is thick with the smell of stale beer and broken dreams. I make my way to the bar, nodding slightly at Rick, the burly bartender with a scar running down his left cheek, a souvenir from a brawl long past. Whiskey, double. Keep them coming, I growl, my voice hoarse with suppressed fury. Rick pours silently, used to the sorrows of his patrons. As I sip the burning liquid, my mind races. I need allies, resources, leverage. Rough night, huh? The voice comes from my left, smooth and curious. I turn to see a man in his mid-30s, his sharp eyes assessing me from under a tousled mop of dark hair. You could say that, I reply, taking another swig. I'm Alex, he says, extending a hand. I know a thing or two about rough nights, and rougher paybacks. His words catch my attention, and despite my initial reluctance, I find myself spilling the story: Sarah, the stranger, the betrayal. Alex listens, nodding occasionally, his expression unreadable. When I finish, he whistles softly. Sounds like you need more than just a drink, friend. What are you suggesting? I ask, wary but intrigued. I work in, let's call it, problem solving. People cause you problems, I solve them, for a price. It's risky, borderline insane, but the seed of vengeance needs dark soil to grow. What kind of solutions are we talking about? I probe. Information, surveillance, a bit of intimidation. Whatever it takes to give you the upper hand. Alex's smile is cold, professional. I hesitate, the whiskey and anger a volatile mix in my veins. But then, the image of Sarah under that table flashes in my mind, and my decision solidifies like ice. Let's talk terms, I say firmly. Alex nods, pulling out a business card and sliding it across the bar. Call me tomorrow. We'll plan your next move. Leaving the bar, the night somehow seems darker than before. I'm no longer just a betrayed husband, I've stepped into a shadowy world of retribution. The air feels heavier as I drive back home, the silence in the car oppressive. When I arrive, the house is dark, Sarah's car gone, probably still with him. I don't care. I go straight to our bedroom, my steps heavy. The room feels alien, tainted. I pack a bag with essentials, my movements robotic. Before I leave, I pause at the doorway, looking back at the life I thought I had. Then I shut the door softly behind me, a quiet punctuation to the end of one chapter and the ominous beginning of another. As I sit in my car, parked down the street, I dial Alex's number. The ring is a countdown to a new reality. Ready to make a plan, I say when he answers, the city lights blurring into streaks of color as my new future takes shape, unforgiving and uncertain. The morning is gray and uninviting as I meet Alex at a nondescript diner on the outskirts of town. The place smells of burnt toast and desperation, fitting the theme of our burgeoning alliance. Alex is already there, sipping black coffee in a booth near the back. He gestures for me to join him. You look like hell, he observes as I slide into the booth opposite him. Feel like it, too, I reply, ignoring the menu the waitress drops off. We're on a tight schedule if you want to move quickly on this, Alex says, getting straight to the point. I've laid out some groundwork overnight. Your wife, she's been busy, not just with this guy. Seems like there's more to her story. More? The word tastes bitter in my mouth. Yeah, she's clever. Been covering her tracks, but not clever enough. We traced her movements, her calls. She's connected to a few interesting characters. Might be bigger than just an affair. I lean in, interest piqued despite the churn of betrayal. What's the plan? Alex lays it out, surveillance on her for starters. We gather evidence, see exactly what we're dealing with. Then, we confront her, with undeniable proof. I nod, feeling the weight of the unfolding drama. And the guy, the one from the cafe? We'll handle him. A bit of pressure to ensure he doesn't complicate things further. Might give him a scare, let him know he's messing with the wrong people. I feel a pang of conflict. This isn't who I am, or at least, who I was. But then, Sarah's deception slices through my hesitation. Do it, I say, voice hard. Alex's eyes gleam with a predatory light. Good. I'll need something from you, though. Access to some of your joint accounts, anything that can give us more leverage. I think of the bank accounts, the credit cards. You'll have it, I confirm, pushing any remnants of my old moral reservations aside. As we leave the diner, Alex's phone buzzes. He reads a message, then smirks. Speak of the devil. Your wife's on the move, headed to some upscale gym she frequents. Probably meeting someone. We can start there. Let's go, I reply, a surge of adrenaline clearing the remnants of doubt. We drive in Alex's nondescript sedan, tinted windows hiding our intent. As we park across from the gym, I see her. Sarah, looking relaxed and unaware of the storm brewing just blocks away. We'll stay back, let my guy take photos. He's already inside, Alex whispers, handing me a pair of binoculars. Through the lenses, I watch as Sarah greets a muscular man with too much ease. They laugh, touch, it's a knife twist to my heart. Alex's guy, a ghost of a figure, snaps photos from a distance. The wait is agonizing. Every laugh, every seemingly intimate gesture between Sarah and the man fuels my growing resolve. This isn't just about revenge anymore, it's about uncovering the truth. After an hour, Sarah leaves with the man, their heads close together in conversation. Alex's guy follows discreetly. We've got what we need for now, Alex says as we pull away from the curb. Let's see what story these pictures tell. As we drive, I feel the pieces of my old life falling away, shattered beyond repair by each new revelation. But amidst the ruins, a new determination is born, a resolve to see this through, no matter the cost. The city lights blur past as Alex and I head back to his office, a nondescript building that belies the complexity of the operations within. My mind races with the possibilities of what the photographs might reveal, each scenario darker than the last. As we burst through the door of his office, Alex's tech guy, a wiry man named Cole, is already working on the images. The large screens flicker with the high-resolution photos of Sarah and the muscular man from the gym. I brace myself, expecting the worst. Look at this, Cole points at the screen, enhancing a specific image. My heart sinks as I prepare for a clear betrayal, but instead, I see something unexpected. The man hands Sarah a small, discreet package. What is that? I ask, my voice barely a whisper. Not sure, but this isn't typical affair stuff, Alex mutters, frowning. Cole, can you clean up the audio from the gym surveillance? Within minutes, we're listening to a conversation that reshapes everything. Sarah's voice comes through, tinged with urgency. We need to get this to Dr. Stevens by tomorrow, the trial depends on it. The man replies, I know, the new compound could save lives. We can't afford delays. My confusion peaks. She's involved in medical trials. I question, looking at Alex, who appears equally puzzled. We need more info, Alex decides, dialing someone. I'm calling a contact at the hospital to dig deeper. While he talks, I sit, trying to piece together the scattered puzzle of my wife's apparent double life. The betrayal I'd assumed morphed into something entirely different. Alex hangs up, a serious look etched across his face. Sarah works with a pharmaceutical company under an NDA. They're developing a new drug. It's all legitimate, surprisingly. But why the secrecy? I protest, struggling to align this with the woman I thought I knew. She didn't want you to worry about the legal implications if the trial went south. Plus, the less you knew, the safer it was for you both, considering the competitive nature of the industry. The revelation hits me hard. My suspicions, the actions I've taken, all of it based on a misunderstanding fueled by jealousy and Frank's invasive observations. We need to talk to her, I say, feeling the weight of my misguided decisions. I need to apologize. Alex nods, and we drive to my house. The lights are on, Sarah's car in the driveway. My stomach churns with anxiety. I knock, and she opens the door, surprise etched on her face. John. What are you doing here? Shouldn't you be at work? Sarah, we need to talk, I start, my voice shaking. I know about the trials, the drug. I'm sorry. Her expression softens. I should have told you. I thought I was protecting you. The conversation that follows is long and fraught with tension, but also with relief. We sit at our kitchen table, unpacking months of secrets and lies, the air clearing with each shared truth. Suddenly, the doorbell rings. I open it to find Frank, looking uncomfortable. I saw you two talking. Just wanted to make sure everything's all right. Frank, your curiosity set off a chain of events, I say, not unkindly. But it's okay. It helped in a strange way. He nods, relieved. Just looking out for you, neighbor. As Frank walks away, I close the door and turn back to Sarah. Let's start over, I suggest. No secrets this time. She nods, her hand finding mine across the table. No secrets. The surprise revelation of Sarah's true activities, the undoing of my assumptions, and the rebuilding of trust weave a complex tapestry of our life together. As we sit quietly, the weight of the night's revelations begins to lift, promising a new chapter based on transparency and renewed faith in each other.